Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's continue our discussion on derivative of a function. So the next topic on the derivatives of some trigonometric function is the implicit differentiation. The process of finding the derivative of a function that is defined implicitly is called implicit differentiation. So we shall now illustrate how this process is. For example, suppose that y is the differentiable function of the variable x. Find y prime of the following. First is x squared plus 2xy minus 2y squared plus 3x minus y minus 9 equals to 0. So dito class sa implicit differentiation, parehas pa rin doon sa previous discussion natin, yung way or yung process kung paano natin i-derive or kukunin yung derivative ng function. But here in implicit differentiation class, naging dalawa na yung variable dito. Kung mapapansin ninyo, x and y na yung variables dito. Unlike kasi doon sa previous discussion natin sa theorems on differentiation, derivatives of trigonometric functions na sasabi man na variable rho o variable x buhay nusar, variable x bumambu o variable y bumambu nusar. So say sa implicit differentiation namin balaya dua timan. So aya ka kuha saya sa derivative na lagi diyang bu. Natubag kapag minus sa exponent sa 1 tapos na giraan na exponent yan ay pumabas kayan sa base, di ba? Na si na every time mapag-derive ka no sik o variable y lang na variable y ron na term na kung mga naroon mag-derive na after news kanyan i-derive na pagumanan news kanyan sa y prime. Dito buhay minuman saya sa implicit differentiation. Lagi daya. So, differentiating both sides of the equation term by term. So, ibig sabihin nun, bawat term dyan is i-derive natin siya. So, we get, sa first term class, ang derivative ni x squared is 2x, diba? Okay. So, okay lang yan. Kung variable x, wala nang idadagdag. Saraa, ma-derive kanyan. Sa second term po man class, diba, we have 2xy. So, ayat pagminsaya na 2 times x times y. Na ibig sabihin class, naki-apply tayo saya. So, product rule sa gia second term tano. So, kapaya i-factor out tano so 2, constant bumans kanyan. Kapaya si tanon i-times ko, final answer. So, ang first function natin dito class para ma-apply natin yung product rule is yung variable x. And then, ang second function natin is yung variable y. So, we have first times the derivative of the second. Okay, cx is yan yung first function natin. Tapos, derivative of the second function na y is 1, diba? And then, since variable y yung dinerive natin, mag-a-add tayo dito ng y prime. Plus, okay, second function is y, kates kanyan, times ginan na 1, na ginan so derivative x. Okay, ginan buklas so derivative o second term. Data na pan mo maki third, fourth, fifth, and last term. Okay, erase akin din na yan. And then, si tanok man ki third term. So, ay derivative i third term since sa timan bo na variable na subuso usual na process. So, 2 times 2, that is equal to 4. Tapos, nagkalamba sa variable y kasi na 2 minus 1 is 1. Diba? Okay, so 4y. And then, since variable y din ni tano, na inuman ang tanos kanyan sa y prime. And then, sa pang-apat na term, 3x, ang derivative ni 3x is 3. And then, derivative ni y is 1, diba? Okay, since minus yan, minus din yung ilalagay natin dito. Derivative ni y is 1. Since variable y yung dinerive natin, mag-a-add tayo ng y prime. And then, derivative of 9 is 0 because 9 is a constant function equals to 0. Okay, so simplifying natin. Simplifying the both sides of the equations, we have 2x. So 2x times 1 times y prime is 2xy prime. 2 times y times 1 is 2y na lang. Okay, so bring down 4y prime plus 3. And then 1 times y prime is y prime. Wala na si 0. Nilagay na natin sa kabilang side because kahit dagdagan or mga-minus ng 0 dito, hindi pa rin magbabago yung equation natin. And then, i-combine natin class lahat ng y prime kasi ang goal natin dito kay implicit differentiation is si y prime. So, combining all the terms having y prime, ilalagay natin siya dito sa left side. Okay, lahat ng may y prime. And then, yung mga terms na walang y prime, ilagay sa right side. Okay, so we have 2xy prime. Galing siya dito. And then, si negative 4y prime. And then, si negative y prime. The rest, nilagay sa right side na equation. And then, after that, dito sa left side, factor out natin si y prime. So, here, we left with 2x na lang. Sa second term is 4y. Dito is 1 na lang. And then, just bring down the equations in the right side. Okay. The equation in the right side rather. So, to solve for y prime, divide natin to both sides by 2x minus 4y minus 1. Okay, this one is cancel out na yan. That is equal to 1 times y prime. So, we have y prime na lang sa left side. And then, sa right side naman, we have negative 2x minus 2y minus 3 divided by 2x minus 4y minus 1. So, therefore, this is the implicit differentiation of the given function sa first example. Okay, take note. Ayabot tanudan saya sa implicit differentiation na every time mapag-derive ka no ki variable y na always yung tiguan sa y prime. Mapasag yung mag-derive na tagwin nyo, tunugin nyo din gagawin sa y prime. Na basta may lane yung class, may tunog si variable x ako si variable y, nag-apply nyo san always si product rule. Basta may katunog siya. Okay? And then, ang goal natin dito kay implicit differentiation is y prime. Another example, x plus y quantity squared minus x minus y quantity squared equals to x raised to 4 plus y raised to 4. So, class, di ba sa unang tingin natin class, sa first glance is, akala natin i-expand pa natin to, di ba? Okay, yan. Pero, pwedeng hindi na natin siya i-expand kasi pwede man natin yung ma-differentiate or makuha yung derivative niya using the chain rule. Okay. Differentiating both sides of the equations term by term, we get, okay, so eto, sa first term, apply natin dito yung chain rule, lagay sa baba yung exponent natin, or lagay sa base exponent na 2 times x plus y, and then times giya 1 plus y prime saya na giya so derivative x, and then gina na y prime saan na gina so derivative y. And then same with the second term, so minus 2, okay, nilagay sa base 2, just copy x minus 1 because 2 minus 1 is 1 lang naman, di ba? And then derivative ni x is 1, derivative ni y is y prime. Okay, sa right side na equation, derivative of x to the 4 is 4x cubed. Bring down 4 to the base, we have 4, and then 4 minus 1 is 3. And then for the second term sa right side natin equation is, derivative nito is 4y cubed. Since variable y ito, nag-add tayo dito ng y prime. Okay, dinugtungan natin ng y prime. So simplify natin. So we have, ang product nito is x plus y plus xy prime plus yy prime. Okay, may 2 sa labas. Later na natin siya i-distribute. And then, the same also with this. Sa second term, ang product nito is, eto siya. Okay, so just bring down the right side equation. So, distribute si 2. So, we get this one. So, 2x, 2y plus 2xy prime, 2yy prime. The same with the second term, negative 2x. Negative times negative, negative 2 times negative y is positive 2y. So, magiging positive 2xy prime minus 2yy prime. So, bring down lang natin yung nasa right side. And then, after that, before natin i-separate lahat ng may y prime, pwede pa natin siyang ma-simplify. So, combining like terms, cancel out ito. That is equal to 0 na. Si 2y and 2y, lahat positive. That is equal to 4y. Si 2xy prime at saka si 2xy prime lahat positive, that is 4xy prime. 2yy prime na positive, cancel out with the negative 2y, y prime. So we left with this in the left side equation, and then bring down lang natin si right side na equation. And then after that, combine natin lahat ng may y prime. Si 4xy prime, retain dito. Transpose natin sa left side si 4y cubed y prime. Transpose din natin si 4y dito. So we have 4x cubed minus 4y. Okay, solving for y prime, we get y prime times 4x minus 4y cubed equals to 4x cubed minus 4y. So divide it both sides by 4x minus 4y cubed. So we have di ba pag dinivide na natin to both sides by 4x minus 4y cubed, ayag ko lang saya na, y prime bu, di ba? Okay, so we have 4x cubed minus 4y over 4x minus 4y cubed, or we can reduce this one as x cubed minus y over x minus y cubed kasi ang greatest common factor both numerator and denominator is the constant 4. So, pwede siyang ma-reduce in lowest term. So, ito yung implicit differentiation ng given natin na function. Next example is 5x cubed y minus 7xy squared equals to 3 plus 7y. So, kung mapapansin niyo sa first term, nagkadikit si x and si variable y, which means apply natin dito si product rule. The same with the second term, nagkasunod dito si x and y, apply din natin dito si product rule. So again, differentiating both sides term by term, we get, okay, so since si 5 is constant lang din naman, so pwedeng ilabas muna natin si 5. And then ang first term natin is si x cubed, and then second term natin sa first term is si y. So first times the derivative of the second, derivative ni y is 1. Since nag-derive tayo kay y, lagay tayo dito ng y prime. And then plus y, yan yung second function, times derivative of the first function is 3x squared. Yan yung derivative ni x cubed. Minus 7 sa second term. Okay, sa second term ito is yung sa first term. So 7, labas muna natin si 7. Okay, ang first term natin dito is si x. Second term is si y cubed. So x times derivative ni y squared is 2y, diba? And then since variable y yan, kaya siya nilagdagan ng y prime dito. Plus, second function na y squared times 1, yan yung derivative ni x. Equals to, derivative of 3 is 0, derivative of 7y is 7, tapos nag-add tayo ng y prime. Okay, so simplify natin. So we have 5x cubed y prime times 5 times 3 is 15x squared y minus 7 times 2 is 14 xy prime. So negative 7y squared equals to 7y prime. Okay, so combine natin lahat ng may y prime. And then sa ito, transpose natin dito. And then ito din is transpose natin dito the same with 15x squared y. So solving for y prime, we get y prime times 5x minus 14. Kasi di ba nalabas si y prime, nalabas dito, nalabas din siya. So ito siya sa labas. Okay, equals to 7y squared minus 15x squared y. So divided both sides by this equation, so we get y prime is equals to 7y squared minus 15x squared y divided by 5x cubed minus 14xy minus 7. Next example, 3y squared plus 2x cosine 2y minus 2xy cubed minus 5 equals to 0. So, dito mapapansin ninyo, may trigonometric function tayo sa second term. So, dito class, ma-apply natin dito si product rule. Okay, and then also, here, ma-apply din natin dito si product rule. Okay, sa first term, ang derivative niya is 6y. Diba? Kasi 3 times 2 is 6, and 2 minus 1 is y na lang. And then since variable y ay yung dinerive natin, nag-add tayo dito ng y prime. Plus, sa second term, okay, this is our first function, si 2x. And then ang second function natin is si cosine y. So first, times the derivative of the second function. Diba derivative ni cosine 2y is sine 2y. And then, times yung derivative ni 2y, kasi ganun man dapat no sa trigonometric. After ninyong makuha yung derivative ng trigo, ita-times na naman yung derivative ng angle ng given ninyo na trigonometric function. Okay. Kaya siya negative kasi diba cosine man, it starts with letter C. And then since variable y ito, nag-add tayo dito ng y prime. Plus, okay, cosine plus second function times the derivative of the first na 2. So, the same with the third term, product rule pa rin. So, we have negative 2. Ang first function natin is x. Second function is y cubed. So, ang derivative ni y cubed is 3y squared. So, since variable y, nag-add tayo ng y prime plus second function ng y cubed times 1, yan yung derivative ni x. Minus yung derivative ni 5 is 0. Okay, so simplify natin. Ito yung nakuha natin. So, and after that, combine natin lahat ng may y prime. Okay, so ito yung lahat ng may y prime sa left side, and then yung mga walang y prime nasa right side. So, solving for y prime, we get y prime times 6y minus 4x sine 2y minus 6xy squared equals to 2y cubed minus 2 cosine 2y. So, divided both sides by this equation, we get 2y cubed minus 2 cosine 2y, 6y minus 4x sine 2y minus 6xy squared. Okay, or pwede itong ma-reduce. Ang greatest common factor, both numerator and denominator is 2. Pag finactor out dito si 2, we left with y cubed minus cosine 2y. Hindi kasali yung 2y na i-factor out yung 2 ha, kasi kumbaga sa English, isang word lang si cosine 2y. Okay, and then sa denominator, if we factor out 2 here, we left with 3y. The second term is 2 na lang, 2x sine 2y minus 3x y squared. So this is the implicit differentiation of this function. Next example is trigonometry. So ang given na trigonometric function is tangent. So we have y equals to tangent of x plus y. So si tangent of x plus y, kung sa English yung pinag-uusapan, isang word lang yan. Okay. So using theorem 7.3.4, letter C, we have, okay, derivative ni y is y1, di ba? So, since variable y yan, kaya siya naging y prime. 1 times y prime is y prime pa rin. Derivative ni tangent class is second squared, di ba? Okay, tangent is second squared. And then, yung angle niya is x plus y times yung derivative ng angle niya is derivative ni x is 1, derivative ni y is y prime, excuse me. Okay, so bring down y prime here. So, nilagay ko dito sa unahan si 1 plus y prime, saka si second square root of x plus y. So, which means, si 1, i-distribute natin dito. Okay, so 1 times second square root of x plus y is second square root of x plus y. And then y prime times second square root of x plus y is y prime, second square root of x plus y. Dua saya binomial saya na ini-distribute sa ibu. Kasi na, monomial bumanaya. Okay, so we have y prime minus y prime second square root of x plus y. And then, si na inibagag saya na ini-transpose saya sa left side. So, solving for y prime, we get y prime times 1 minus second square root of x plus y equals second square root of x plus y. So, dividing it both sides by 1 minus second square root of x plus y, we have y prime equals to second square root of x plus y divided by 1 minus second square root of x plus. The next topic of the implicit differentiation is the geometric interpretation of a derivative. So let's consider this graph. So let the curve of a function f, this one, itong function na to, defined by y equals to f of x. So, ibig sabihin, itong curve na to is yan yung curve natin na y equals to f of x. Be given. So, draw a line, L sub h. So, ito siya. Itong line na to na dash line, yung sa L sub h na yan, is through point P sub O. So, ito yung point. Diba dumaan siya dito sa point na P sub O and point P on the graph of y equals to f of x. So, si L sub h na line is dumaan siya sa point na P sub O and point P sa curve na y equals to f of x. So, in this figure class, the line L sub h, itong line na L sub h na to, itong dashed line na yan, that is a second line, a line passing through 2 points in a curve. So, di ba dumaan siya ng 2 points sa curve natin at the point P sub O and point P. Suppose that P sub O has coordinates x sub O and y sub O. So, let's say, si point P sub O natin is meron siyang point na x sub O at saka y sub O, or the f of x sub O, and P has an abscissa. So, si point P naman has an abscissa x sub O plus h. Okay, yung x coordinate ng point P natin. Then, P sub O is the point. Okay, ang point ni P sub O is yan yung si x sub O at saka si f of x sub O. So, di ba ito yung point P natin? And P is the point having the coordinates. So, yung point P naman natin is may coordinates na x sub O plus h at saka si f of x sub O plus h. The slope of the line L sub h, ang slope ng line natin dito sa L sub h is m sub h equals to f of x sub O minus f of x sub O divided by x sub O plus h minus x sub O, or that is equal to f of x sub O plus h minus f of x sub O over h. So, do not worry class, andun yung discussion sa module natin. Now, as h tends to 0, okay, the point P tends to the point P sub O. So, if etong h natin class is pa-approach siya dito sa 0, diba yung point P natin dito is papunta din siya sa point natin na P sub O. We see geometrically that the second line, etong second line na yan, is L sub h rotates about the point P sub O. Okay, so also we find that the line L sub h tends to a limiting position as h approaches to 0. So this limiting position is actually the tangent line. So yan yung L sub t. Okay, so this is the tangent line to the curve at point P sub O. So na dumaan din siya dito sa point P sub O natin yung L sub t or the tangent line. So observe that if f is differentiable at x sub O here, then by the definition of the derivative, the prime definition and derivative is the limit of f of x sub O plus h minus f of x sub O divided by h as h approaches 0 is equal to the limit of m of the slope of the line or the second line. This means that the slope of the second line of the line L sub h tends to the limiting slope, which is the derivative of f at x sub O. Since the limiting position of L sub h or the second line is the line tangent line or L sub t, which is the line tangent to the curve at point P sub O. It follows that f prime of x sub O is the slope of the tangent line to the curve at point P sub O. So let's have a formal definition of the second line and the tangent, the normal line or the second line. So here, first definition's geometric interpretation of E derivative is the tangent line. So let f be a function such that f prime of x sub O exists the tangent line to the curve y equals to f of x at the point P sub O, having the coordinates x sub O and y sub O is the line through P sub O having slope. Okay, so ito yung slope na tangent line natin. M equals to f prime of x sub O. So, di ba sa Analytic Geometry 1 natin class is naituro na natin sa atin yung formulas ng slope. So, di ba ang ginamit doon na ano yan, notation is the letter M, small letter M. So, M equals to f prime of x sub O. Kumbaga dito is the application of the tangent line or the slope sa analytic geometry. So, which means yung slope daw ni tangent line is equal to the first derivative of the given function, y equals to f of x. The next definition is the normal line to curve y equals to f of x at point P sub O is the line through P sub O perpendicular to the tangent line to the curve at P sub O. I-differentiate natin yung tangent lines and normal lines. So from the definition mentioned earlier, it follows that the slope of the normal line to the curve y equals to f of x at the point P sub O is eto siya. So eto yung slope ng normal line. Ibig sabihin nun, di ba, yung sa definition ng tangent line, ang slope niya is the first derivative of the given function of the given curve y is equals to f of x. Yung sa normal line naman, ang derivative niya is the negative reciprocal of uh, uh, the slope of the tangent line. May negative dito, class. Okay. The negative reciprocal of the slope of the tangent line, provided that f prime of x sub O exists and f prime of x sub O not equal to 0. That is, the tangent line to the curve at point P sub O is neither an horizontal line nor a vertical line. An equation of the normal line can then be obtained by using the points loop form of a line. So, alam natin yung points loop form of a line, that is y minus y sub O equals to m times x minus x sub O sa analytic geometry 1 natin. Okay, if the tangent line to the curve at point P sub O is the horizontal line, take note, y equals to y sub O equals to f of x sub O. So, if yung tangent line natin class to the curve at point P sub O is horizontal line, so which means ang equation natin is magiging y is equal to y sub O. Ibig sabihin, kung ano yung given ninyo na point na y sub O, is yun yung magiging tangent line ninyo. So that is, if yung nakuha ninyo na derivative is equal to 0. Okay, if yung nakuha ninyo class na derivative is equal to 0, After ninyong mag-substitute is equal to 0 yung nakuha ninyo. Tapos, it implies that yung magiging slope ng tangent line ninyo is 0. So, ang magiging horizontal line ninyo or tangent line is this one. Okay, so later on, magbibigay tayo ng example para ma-illustrate natin itong sinasabi sa letter B ng tangent lines and normal lines. Then, the normal line to the curve at point P sub O is the line x equals to x sub O or the vertical line. Okay, take note, basta 0, so may kuha niyo derivative. May kung may ka-substitute ka no, di ba may derive ka no? Tapos na ini-substitute yun so point P x sub O na 0 may kuha niyo slope na automatic din na tangent line niyo na so kung tunay y sub O niyo na ayan yung mabut normal line na sumambuso tunay given nyo x sub O. On the other hand, if x equals to x sub O is the tangent line, kung kabaliktaran, then y is equal to y sub O is the normal line. Okay, kung baliktad naman, ibarat po na miyaklid si tangent line as kanya si x equals to x sub O, na ayaw mo po normal line yun na y equals to y sub O. For example, find the equations of the tangent line and the normal line to the curve y equals to 3x squared minus 2x minus 1 at the point P sub O, 1, 0. So, given tanwa curve which means nagigwan tanu sa derivative para makuha tanu so slope a tangent line ang kuso slope a normal line. So, point tanu mabunaya equal to x tanu saya coordinate na 1 nagya mabuna y coordinate tanu saya na 0 na. Pusa tanu kakakuha tanu ko slope of tangent line na si x. Okay. So here's the solution. So let f of x equals to 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. Yes, kanyan. So given tanu si variable y, siyang biyas kanyang busa f of x because y is just equal to f of x. And then after that class, kunin nyo lang yung derivative nito. Take note, ayabog ko nyo sa derivative na subuso curve given. Okay, so derivative with 3x squared minus 2x minus 1 is 6x minus 2. Gipag-usaran tano para makuha tano sa slope tangent agus si normal line. So let m sub lt and m sub ln be the slopes of the tangent line and the normal line respectively. So for the tangent line class, by the definition pala, yung na-mention kanina, the 5.1 and 5.2, for the tangent line, m sub lt or the slope of the tangent line, giyas kanyan, na giyabunan kinwasaan, na si variable x saya class, na si ambience kanyan busa, 1, si ko given, puon ko, given tano. So si x, kasi ambience sa 1, kates kanyan, f prime of 1 na. Si 6 pa rin siya, and then si x, replace it by 1, so that is equal to 6 times 1 na lang, and then minus 2. So 6 times 1 is 6 minus 2, that is equal to 4, which means na slope o tangent line tano na equals to 4. Okay, so para makuha tayo so tangent line, equation of the tangent line using the points loop form, ito yung points loop form, y minus y sub o equals to m sub lt or the slope of the tangent line times x minus x sub o. So magiging replace y sub o by 0 galing dito sa given natin. So y minus 0 equals to ang slope na nakuha natin kay tangent line is 4 galing dito. So 4 times x minus x sub o natin is 1. Okay. So kailangan ang final answer ninyo class in terms of equation kung linear is dapat in standard form. So therefore, an equation of the tangent line is 4x minus y minus 4 equals to 0. So naka-standard form na yung given natin na equation. For the normal line, m sub ln yung ginamit na notation. So di ba doon sa after ko na-discuss yung definition ni normal and tangent line, di ba, nag-compare tayo kay tangent and normal lines. So, ang slope daw ni normal line is the negative reciprocal of the slope of the tangent line. So, ang negative reciprocal ni 4 is negative 1 over 4. Or pwede din na negative, ang formula niya is negative 1 over f prime of x. So since ang x natin is 1, so substitute natin dito. So magiging 6 times 1 minus 2 is 4, diba? So magiging negative 1/4, or just simply negative reciprocal of the tangent, of the slope of the tangent line. So, and after that, using again this points loop form, so replace y sub o by 0, and then ilalagay na natin ito sa slope is negative 1/4, unlike kanina sa tangent line na 4 yung ginamit natin na slope. Therefore, an equation of the normal line is, in standard form, is x minus 4y plus 1 equals to 0. Another example class is find the equations of the tangent line and normal line to the curve 5 sine 2x. Okay, so trigonometric function at the point p sub o, pi over 4 and 5. Okay, so this is our x sub o or x. This is our y sub o or y. So the same process pa rin kanina. Okay, first is get the derivative of the given curve. So let f of x equals to 5 sine 2x. The derivative of f at x is, eto siya. So, di ba, ang derivative, pag ganito, pag may constant or numerical coefficient sa unahan ni trigonometry is, isulat lang yan, as is lang siya. Kasi hindi pwedeng kunin yung derivative niya kasi magiging 0, di ba? Okay, times yung derivative ni sine 2x is, that is cosine 2x, times yung 2 na yan is, dito yan galing sa derivative ni 2x. Okay, ganun talaga kapag sa trigonometry. 5 times 2 is 10 times cosine 2x. So, ito yung derivative ng given natin na curve. Mapasado to, nakuha nyo sa slope a tangent line, and then after that, nasok man so equation ni tangent lines. For the tangent line class, m sub lt is equal to the first derivative. So, since itong nakuha natin na first derivative, na si variable x saya, nasambihan sa pi over 4, di ba kagito given ta noon. And then, 10 cosine 2, so si x saya, nasambihan sa pi over 4, so mimbaloya, 10 cosine of pi over 2, kakancel si 2, kailang ba si buna? 2 mambu. So, 10 cosine of pi over 2 is equal to 10. Ang cosine ni pi over 2 class is equal to 0. So, 10 times 0 is 0. So, eto yung na-mention kanina sa letter B. If yung nakuha daw natin na first derivative is equal to 0, so which, what I mean is, if yung nakuha natin na slope ni tangent line is equal to 0, which means na ay tangent line tano na so horizontal line, and then yung normal line natin is yung vertical line. So now, using the points loop form, okay, so we have y minus 5 equals to 0 na yan, which means din na lambo saya sa right side tano. So, transpose lang natin si 5, so y equals to 5. So, di ba si 5 plus ginan so given tano nga point y. So, it follows that, therefore, an equation of the tangent line is y equals to 5, a horizontal line, di ba? By definition 7.5.2 ito, it follows that the normal line is the line x is equal to pi over 4, a vertical line. So, which means, gaya x equals to pi over 4 na ginan. So, point ano nga given. Basta ma 0, so, slope o tangent line na, automatic ayan yung tangent line na si y. So, given yung point na y. Tapos, ayan yung normal line na so, given yung x coordinate. Okay, for the last topic sa derivatives of a function is the derivatives of higher orders. So, sa derivatives of higher order class, which means hindi na isang derivative yung kukunin natin, kundi marami na. Pwedeng kunin na natin yung second derivative, yung third derivative, yung fourth derivative, fifth, so on and so forth. If the function f is differentiable, then its derivative f prime, okay, di ba ito yung first derivative, is called the first derivative of f. If the function f prime, okay, or yung first derivative is differentiable, then the derivative of f prime, okay, derivative ni f prime is called the second derivative. So it is denoted by f double prime or read as f double prime. Okay, similarly, the third derivative of f is defined as the derivative of the second derivative, provided that the second derivative exists. The third derivative of f is denoted by f triple prime, read as f triple prime. The nth derivative of the function f, denoted by f to the power of n, is defined as the derivative of n minus first derivative of f, provided the latter exists. Okay. So we have a remark here. The Leibniz notation for the first derivative is dy over dx. So pag nakita nyo to class, ang ibig sabihin lang yan is the first derivative. Kumbaga na si f prime na equals kanyan buki dy over dx na si equals kanyang bupan as y prime. Di ba kasi na-inusertan sa implicit differentiation na y prime. Basta may lenyog na ginan, lagi-lagid po na. Where y equals to f of x. The Leibniz notation for the second derivative of f with respect to x is, eto naman yung second derivative. Na equivalentan naman po na f double prime o di na y double prime. Okay, so basta may nyo d squared y over dx squared, which means second derivative na in Leibniz notation. In general, the symbol d to the power of n y over dx to the power of n denotes the nth derivative of y with respect to x. And other symbols for the nth derivative of f with respect to x are eto siya, or eto. Pero ang usual kasi na ginagamit is si f prime lang, para, or si y prime, para hindi na masyadong confusing. Okay, so let's give an example. For the first example class, find the fifth f to the power of 5 months, which means find the fifth derivative if the given function is 2x to the 4 minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 5x plus 6, which means na pangiluban niyo, so ikalima aya derivative. Okay, para makuha nyo sa ikalima nyo na derivative na kailangan na pag-solve nyo dan si first, si second, third, agos si fourth. Kasi hindi ka pa kaya dumiretso. Okay, step by step tayo. Okay, so ang first derivative na to, let's start with the first derivative. We have 2 times 4 is 8, x to the power of 3 na lang, minus 3 times 3 is 9, x squared, kasi 3 minus 1 is 2, plus 4 times 2 is 8, okay, so 2 minus 1 is 1, minus 5, derivative ni 5x is 5, derivative ni 6 is 0. Okay, so ito yung first derivative natin. Next is derive tanok manaya. Yep maning derive tanok na baka narug kasoy ki original function. Para makuha nyo sa second derivative na ayan yung man derive na, so niya derive yung first derivative. So 8 times 3, 24, x squared na lang. So 9 times 2 is 18. So x na lang. So 8, derivative of 8x is 8. Derivative of 5 is 0. Okay, so eto yung second derivative niya. Para sa third derivative man, nain yung man derivative na, so miyakwan nyo second derivative. Kaya nga, be careful. Pag mali yung nakuha ninyo na first derivative, it follows also na mali na din si second, si third, si fourth, so on and so forth. Which means, ang pinaka-foundation dito is yung first derivative. Okay, so 24 times 2 is 48x. And then 18x, derivative niya is 18. So, derivative of 8 plus 0 is 0 na lang. So, ito yung third derivative niya. So, to get the fourth derivative, i-derive na naman natin yung nakuha natin na third derivative. So, derivative of 48x is 48. Derivative of 18 is 0. So, 48 minus 0 is 48 na lang yan, di ba? Lastly, to get the fifth derivative, yun yung pinapahanap. Diba? So, mag-stop na tayo dyan kasi yan man yung pinapahanap. So, derivative of 48 is 0. So, therefore, the fifth derivative of this given function is equal to 0. Okay, let's give another example here. So, find g double prime, g triple prime rather, or the third derivative. Kasi tatlong prime, diba? If g of x is equal to 1 over the square root of 3x plus 7. So, before natin siya i-derive class, we have to rewrite first g of x as 3x plus 7 raised to the power of negative 1. Kasi di ba nasa denominator man siya. So, inakyat natin siya sa taas. So, kaya natin siya nire-write into exponential form para ma-apply natin yung chain rule. At saka, mas madali natin siyang ma-derive or ma-differentiate. Okay, let's start with the first derivative. So, g prime of x or first derivative, bring down negative 1 half here. Okay, just copy 3x plus 7. So, this is negative 3 over 2 because negative 1 half minus 1 is negative 3 halves times yung derivative ni 3x plus 7 is 3. Okay, so this is equal to negative 3 halves times 3x plus 7 to the power of negative 3 halves. So, ito yung first derivative. To get the second derivative, ito na naman yung magiging basis natin. Okay, so negative 3 over 2, ito siya. Itong pangalawang negative 3 over 2 galing dito sa exponent na yan. And then, just copy 3x plus 7. Then, magiging negative 3 halves minus 1 is negative 5 over 2 times yung derivative ni 3x plus 7 na 3. So, ito magiging 27 over 4 because 3 times 3 is 9 times 3, 27. Negative times negative is positive. 2 times 2 is 4. So, this is the second derivative. For the last, third derivative, kasi yun yung pinapahanap dito, di ba? Kung fourth derivative, of course, continue pa rin kayo. Okay, so g triple prime of x, si negative 5 over 2, eto siya, yan yung galing sa exponent. Then 27 over 4, yan yung nakuha natin na result sa double prime or sa second derivative. 3x plus 7 to the negative 7 over 2 because negative 5 over 2 minus 1 is negative 7 over 2 times yung 3 na derivative ni 3x plus 7. So, ang product nito class is negative 405 over 3 times 3x plus 7 raised to the negative 7 over 2. So, para ma-eliminate yung negative na exponent, lagay natin siya sa denominator. So, maging negative 405 over 8 times the square root of 3x plus 7 to the power of, this is 3, this is not 8. Typo error. I think. This is 8, sorry. This is 8. Okay, so negative 405 over 8 times the square root of 3x plus 7 raised to 7. So, kaya na ini-convert po into radical form. So, that is for the derivative of higher order. Okay, last example. So, derivative of higher order involve yung, anong tawag dito? Trigonometric function. So, find. So, since 3 yan, ibig sabihin, find the third derivative of this given function. So, using the notation of Leibniz notation, we have, first, ang given natin na function is d over dx is 2 sin x plus 3 cosine x minus x cubed. So, ang first derivative niya, class, eto, ang first derivative niya, naging notation yan, oh, d over dx, datatago na number, kaya 1 bumananan, d to the 1, dx to the 1. So, kapakayagi din. So, aya pag minsaya, nagya sa first derivative yan, kumbaga naginan. So, f prime of x. So, aya derivative 2 sin x plus 3 cosine x na 2 cosine 2x at 2 cosine x rather. Derivative ni 3 cosine x is negative 3 sin x. Derivative ni x cube is 3x squared. Okay, so ginan first derivative tano. Sip man si second derivative, yeah, kasi na d squared man. Okay, ito yung f double prime natin. Okay, so derive tano na si first derivative. So derivative cosine, derivative 2 cosine na negative 2 sin x, di ba? Derivative 3 sin x na 3 cosine x. Derivative 3x squared na 6x. So, giya second derivative yan. Okay, lastly, the third derivative. So, ibig sabihin, nag-iap man yung derivative tano. So, may obtain tano ang result sa second derivative. So, yung derivative negative 2 sin x na negative cosine x rather. Derivative 3 cosine x na magiging positive 3 sin x kasi na, di ba? Derivative cosine na negative sin times negative 3 na may beloya positive. Then derivative ni 6x is 6. So that's all for the derivative of a